evening. Welcome to the Light Gate. We're coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the beautiful United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on YouTube. We are on Roku. We are on Rumble and Facebook. I'm excited tonight. Can you tell? First things first, I would like to extend a hearty thank you to every serviceman, veteran in our country, and those who fought for our country from around the world. Veterans Day is a very special day to me, as I also served in my country. It is a day to remember those who are still in harm's way and those who are at home worried about those in harm's way and what they've had to live since then. Okay, next. Carnation, this is our sponsor for our network. We love you, Carnation. Everything I do in my kitchen involves you guys for my entire life, starting from when I was very young. Their products are wonderful, and I want everybody to consider picking some up, especially this Thanksgiving, because you can make some great pumpkin pie with this. Okay, tonight's guest is somebody that we know and love very dearly, and I'm going to give it over to Preston. Go, Preston.
Thank you, Dolly. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on episode 81. Can you believe that? Of The Light Gate. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Safran. We do have one of our favorite guests ever, certainly one of yours. If you look at the numbers statistically, Michael Schratt is our most popular guest. This is coming back for a record 5th time. So we'll get right to him. I do want to say a quick hello to all you guys. Big thanks to Carnation as well for supporting us. We truly appreciate and love you. And let's see, who do we have here? It looks like we've got quite a crowd. We have Polly Rotterman, who is first in line. But we have Leah and we have Chip, who loves Michael's art renderings. Yes, I'm sure we will be seeing some of those tonight. We have Dana Matthews. Yes. We have Rat Food. Hold on a second. I'm getting a weird echo for some reason.
Is your phone on?
Hold on. I'm getting an echo. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
Michael, do you have a phone on the show? Turn it off. Michael, do you have a phone on the show? Turn it off. Or close all your extra windows.
Well, all right. Well, let me try. Muting the mic.
I swear.
All right, well, let me try. Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm getting a faint echo.
I'm going to turn off my mic.
Okay, sounds like it's you, Dolly. Yeah, I mean, we're not getting an echo now. So make sure all your windows are closed. All right, are we good now? Closed. No, you've got a window open, Dolly.
No.
Well, why don't you pop out and come back in?
All right. Bye.
Sorry, guys. Don't know what's going on there. But that would be too much to go to for 2 hours. So hopefully we'll get that fixed. Meanwhile, who else do we have here? We've got Scuba Maru. We have Kaleidoscope Eyes. Missing 411 is not missing. He's right here with us. We have T-Bone. Dolly Safran is coming back, I hope. Dolly Levine, or Teresa Levine, sorry. Teresa. Okay, we got Michael Kennedy bringing the popcorn and the Owl Man. Time for the best part of Mondays. Oh, thanks, Owl Man. We got Louise from New Jersey. And we have Undead Jed. Very cool. I think that worked, Dolly, because I'm not hearing an echo anymore. All right. Who else do we got? Bob Thorson with a wonderful super chat donation. Thank you, Bob. It's very awesome of you. We can't thank you enough, but we'll try. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have Ruth Kleiber. We have Michael Kennedy. I'll be watching the UAP hearings. Yes, Michael, thank you. Me too. We have Namaste. Namaste, thank you so much. I am continually amazed how you show up each week with a wonderful donation. You are awesome. We love you.
Absolutely. We love you very much. Thank you.
Bambi Dudley, hi from Philly. Oh, Louise, remembering Veterans Day. So
Thank
nice
you.
of you. Yes, our veterans definitely deserve to be recognized. So thank you to all you veterans out there. We truly appreciate all you have done for us. Let me see. We got Joe Smith. We got Lars Anderson all the way from Sweden.
Hey, dude.
Hey, do Jagalaska dig.
No, Yogalskide.
Jagalaska dig. All right.
Yogalskide. I love it. Oh, my.
Leah, hello again. Catherine, Prince Solomon, just insane. Hello, Justin. Cliff Olinger. Oh, Cliff, I am researching the location you requested for my next hometown video. Your location will be on it, so that's something you might be interested in. Oil Painter, hello, and White Dragon. And let's get, you know what, you guys, I see all you in here. We've got such a good guest. I really want to just hop forward and get the show going because we never have enough time when it comes to Michael. Werder Bremen, greetings from Germany. Wow.
Ah,
I love this, you guys. St. Paul. Oh, Genevieve from Paris. We are reaching far and wide. Leah, thank you,
I
thank
know.
you, thank you.
Yeah.
Henry Plack, Arthur, you guys are amazing. But yeah, let's jump into the show because our guest is so amazing. He always delivers. He's becoming increasingly popular. You can see him everywhere. If you haven't heard of Michael Schratt, it's time you did. And we are bringing him back for a fifth time. Let me tell you a little bit about him if you haven't heard of him before. He is a huge powerhouse in this field, researcher, author, historian. He knows a lot about the black budget, certainly a lot about crash retrievals, and a lot about all kinds of historic cases as well. He's a private pilot, a military aerospace historian, longtime UFO researcher, lecturer, and draftsman. And as I said, an expert on classified black projects, UFO crash retrievals, the government cover-up, and more. He is the author of an amazing book, The Dark Files, Pictorial History of Lost, Forgotten, and Obscure UFO Encounters, and a frequent guest on radio shows and podcasts, including Coast to Coast. He's spoken at Contact in the Desert. I could say a lot more about him, but let's just bring him on. You can find his links in the show description, but I don't want to waste any more time. I'm pulling him in.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Dolly. Hello, Preston.
Hello. How are you doing these days?
Good to be with you. Hanging in there. Hanging in there.
Yeah. Well, we just had you on a couple of months ago, but you're so amazing. We couldn't resist bringing you back as soon as possible.
That sounds good on paper. Let's see if it's true.
So before we get started into, what you want to talk about, because I know you have some stuff set up, I'm curious because we have these somewhat historic hearings happening in 2 days. I mean, there's movement where there hasn't been movement in literally decades, but we've now been kind of inching forward for 4 or 5 years now. This is another major hearing. I'm wondering if you're expecting any major revelations. Do you think we're going to get disclosure? What are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I want to hear, just like everybody else is curious, I want specific details on Immaculate Constellation. I want to know exactly what crash retrievals was involved in that program and what associated reverse engineering programs went into that and how did they fund all of this. That's what I want to talk about today. But I'm generally interested in exactly what crash retrievals were involved in that program. That's what I want to find out. And I don't think we're going to get those answers.
Yeah, me either, unfortunately. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Right.
Because you would die.
But you can kind of see what they've been doing with these congressional hearings is they just keep on kicking the can down the road here. And when we get really close to any kind of a disclosure, the defense contractors pay off the politicians and we don't get anywhere. And that's been going on. So that's what we're up against. We're up against the $1 billion defense contractors.
Yeah,
and
it's a
they have a
tricky
lot of
game.
proprietary programs associated with all of this, and they don't want those things to be exposed. And so we're left to pick up the pieces here.
Right.
It's
It's
a
not just
slippery
the
slope.
defense contractors, it's the people
Right.
who pick the defense contractors to begin with.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And we have, and it's said before, and I'm going to say it again because I haven't heard anybody go to this. It's the military. You know, we have a military war machine, and it's more connected than anybody realizes. And it's an entity all on its own, separate from the federal government as well. It's become that expansive. And I think that it's a serious issue. And they have to tell the truth about that first. Okay. They have to and that's where the money comes from. All these alt experience, expenditures that they're making. It's really hard to believe that our country is trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, down the road in debt.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever other than us. I don't believe that at all. And I would like to know why.
Well, this should be an interesting discussion tonight because this is what you're going to talk a little bit about, right?
Sure. Yes. We're going to talk about the funding tonight. That's what we want to do. Yes.
We want to go that way. Yep.
All right. This is an important subject. I don't think people have any idea, not even in the UFO community. So I'm ready. Lay it on us, Michael.
Okay. So I got my all thing ready to go here. So if, yep.
Bring it up. Here we go. On stage. Okay.
All right. So first of all, thank you both for giving me the opportunity to join all of you today. We're all a family here. We really are. And it's a hard road. It's a hard, lonely road going down this. There's a lack of inspiration. There's a lack of encouragement because we constantly are taking these hits, and we've got to keep this nucleus of family researchers together. It's so important. So important.
I agree.
All right. So what we want to talk about today is we're going to discuss the black budget. We're going to get into some fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm going to present some things where I'm going to give you something like a hammer. What would a hammer cost at Home Depot? And then I'm going to let the chat audience chime in and bid on these products. I call it the price is wrong: fraud, waste, and abuse in government spending. This is something I've been wanting to do for 10 years, and I finally got all this together. I've done this a couple times before. This might be like the third time here, and whoever gets closest, can we give them a heart or a happy face or something? Is it possible to do that in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, good. So whoever gets closest, you get the happy face. So that's how we're going to do it. All right. So the title, and then we're going to talk about what have we bought for all of this billions of dollars that we've been spending the last 60 years? What did we procure for all of that money? I want to know. I'm a concerned taxpayer. We all should know, right? So the title of this lecture, it's called Inside the Black World: Exposing the Secret Budget Behind America's Classified Assets. This presentation is pretty word intensive. There is some serious reading here, and I'm doing that because I cannot divert from the whole case here. I can't go off on a tangent. I have to stay right to the budget line items and all the procurement funding. So this is something that we have to stick to here. Why don't we go ahead and start with our first slide? And I want to start here. This is the Pentagon Propaganda Machine by Senator J.W. Fulbright. And here he says, quote, "The greatest threat to American national security is the American military establishment and the no-holds-barred type of logic it uses to justify its zillion-dollar existence." Yeah, you can't word that any better. That's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're up against here. Let's continue on here. Detroit Free Press. Secret ledger hides military projects. Pentagon black budget has tripled under Reagan administration. So as we go through all this, I'm going to give you the names, the dates, the newspaper clippings, so you can verify all this on your own. So we're talking about the Reagan buildup here, 81 to 86. So let's just consider that you're defense contractor X, and you have a new secret project that you want to get funded. During the Reagan buildup, you had a blank check and you got funded. whether the program was a failure or not, you still got funded. So that's where these billions of dollars poured into these programs. So let's go on here. Here's the chart that I've cleaned up in this article here. And you can see here, Defense Department secret accounts. So at the beginning of the Reagan administration, the black budget grew by just over $500 million. By 88, it grew by over $9 billion. So you can see this exponential growth in the black budget. Now let's go to the next one here. Federal spending by category. We've got education, 25 billion. We've got transportation, 28 billion. We've got the Pentagon's black budget, 35 billion. So is there like a misappropriation of funding here? We're spending more on the Pentagon's black budget than we are for the education of our children and our infrastructure. So
screw the environment.
Yeah, screw the environment. Screw the environment. Yep. The fat cats of the defense contractors are cashing in on all of this. And guess who's paying for all this? We are, our children are, the education. There's definitely some things that need to be corrected here. Okay, so off to the right, Air Force black budget procurement funding. Their total budget for fiscal year 1988 was $51.1 billion, of which $19.1 billion was classified black budget. So that's the breakdown for Reagan administration. All right, let's continue here. One reason the black budget has increased so dramatically under Reagan is the administration's desire to keep more projects secret. As William Casey, now retired CIA director, said in a 1983 interview, he did not want a low-profile agency. He wanted a no-profile agency. So this is Detroit Free Press, February 8th, 1987. So not only are these guys under the radar screen, but they're way below. They don't want anyone to know what's going on here. The CIA is definitely involved in keeping the secrets. We know they have an electronic database of UFO files, most likely crash retrieval information. We know it because that tracks with the Leonard Stringfield collection. We've got a witness that's talked about and named the CIA specifically here. Let's continue on. Thomas Amley, a Pentagon missile expert with security clearances high enough to know about some black programs, said the military has, quote, 3 basic reasons for having them. 1, you're doing something that should genuinely be secret. There's only a couple of those, and stealth isn't one of them. 2, you're doing something so damn stupid you don't want anyone to know about it. And 3, you want to rip the money bag open and get out a shovel because there is no accountability whatsoever. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yikes. So that's the mentality of the defense contractors, that if they know they can get away with something, they will get away with it, and they will charge.
I want to add one to that list.
Yeah,
just saying, what they really want is they want enough money so that under any circumstances possible, everybody in that organization who's working with them and back engineering and all of that they back engineer as much technology as they possibly can. And they are given every advantage, service, device, money, whatever it takes. That is the priority for that.
I agree with that. And so what we're saying here is there are a number of classified programs that were born black, died black, and will never know anything about it. That's how these things are run. Let's go on to the next one here. Pentagon's top secret black budget has skyrocketed during Reagan administration. National Journal, March 1st, 1986. Let's continue on here. Now, we as taxpayers, how can we find out about where our tax dollars are going, right? Because according to the Constitution, there should be an annual accounting of funds made available to the public, okay? So how do we as general public, how do we track any of this? Well, you as a taxpayer, you can walk right into the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., and you can request this document. I've done it before. We all have a right to do this, to question authority. And I want to mention again that the Air Force does not own anything, right? They don't own the planes. They don't own the runways. They don't own the buildings. They are nothing more than temporary custodians of those assets. We own the assets. We call the shots. So we have every right to question authority. So if you walk into the Library of Congress and you request this document, it's called RDT&E Programs R1. That stands for Research, Development, Test, and Evaluation Programs R1. And it's a rather boring document, okay? You got to page through all this. And then you get to these sections here Where things really start falling off the radar screen here, like have flag, constant source, senior year, forest green. These are examples of classified black programs. And so what you do is you take the total amount from the knowns, and what you're left with is the black budget. So that's how you track this. Now, they only give you a code name. They don't give you any details about it. So, we don't know what a lot of these programs are or what specific details they are here. So Anatomy of a Black Budget, Detroit Free Press, February 9th, 1987. Now here they've got Bernie and Leo. And one thing I want to mention is the smaller the code name, the more deep black the project. So if you had senior year, Leo would be more classified than senior year. That's what we're talking about here. So off to the left, you've got the line number, you've got the program element number, and then the nomenclature. So that's the breakdown on how you read these charts here. A couple more examples. Defense Daily, July 14th, 1988. You can see here near the bottom, Theme Castle, Senior Citizen, Senior Year Operations. There's no money for it. It's another one of these examples of a black program. My good friend John Andrews, he used to be Senior Project Design Engineer at Testers Model Corporation in San Diego, California. He was the originator of really all of this. I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to John Andrews because he was the original interceptor who started chasing after all of these programs. He really was the first person to do all this. So he wrote a letter here to the Pentagon. This is back in 1993. He wanted to get specific details on Rosetta, housekeeping, Redbird, Rainbow, and Snowbird, all classified code names. Let's continue on here. Palm Beach Post, May 10th, 1992. And so you can see here, the chart gives you all the breakdowns of the years, but then look on the top of the chart. You've got tractor pull, you've got have flag, centennial, forest green, copper coast, constant help, seat clock, senior citizen, senior year operations. A lot of these are Air Force black budget programs. Let's continue on here. Blank check, the Pentagon's black budget, Tim Weiner. I cannot request this book enough. I can't acknowledge this book enough. I can't recommend this book enough. If you want to know anything about the black budget, this guy has done a fantastic job. This is kind of well known in this field, but this book is unbelievable. So if you get bored on a Sunday afternoon and it's raining and you have a copy of this book, you can just page through and he gives you the references. He gives you the code names, what actually was involved. It's absolutely fantastic book. Highly recommended. Philadelphia Inquirer, February 8th, 1987. A growing black budget pays for secret weapons, covert wars. Continue on here. National security laws forbid any public debate in Congress that would reveal specific weapons or specific dollars, or for that matter, specific follow-ups in the black budget. So this is what I talked about.
Okay, well, that is the tip of that iceberg. You realize that there have been presidents who've been able to write executive orders into the budgets that specifically deny and give authority over to who's handling those budgets. Mm-hmm. Okay. In other words, when we say that an alternate government has been created for national security, I'm not joking around. And it goes all the way back to Eisenhower. Absolutely. And consequently, presidents after him, certain ones of them, have done the same. There are laws on the book constitutionally amended by executive order to keep this going the way it is. And most people need to wake up to that fact that you don't live in a totally free society. You haven't since 1935 or 34. Okay, well, let's see, 36, probably 38. Okay. It is seriously that deep delved into and whatever. And I'll even accuse our government of money laundering as well, because every time you pay $17.95 or $270 for a hammer in the military, that money isn't really what you spend for it. The money above what it really costs for the hammer goes to money laundering. In other words, they either launder it into the black budget or they launder it into what other things that they want to do to keep us quiet and stupid. This is how serious it is. It's like a mafia thing.
And we don't even get to know about the follow-ups either.
No.
Right. That's right.
Okay, go ahead.
Well said, Dolly. Well said, Dolly. I'll have to hire you on my team. Okay. In other words, there are some programs that were born black, died black, and we'll never know anything about them. I kind of talked about that before. And that's what we're dealing with here. All right, let's continue on. Secrecy shrouds black bases. Okay. San Francisco Chronicle, July 20th, 1988. So within the umbrella of the black budget, you've got the programs, you've got the aircraft, you've got the bases, you've got the tunnel boring machines. All of this falls under deep underground military bases. That's what they're talking about in this article here. So there's two things we want to talk about here. Obviously, Dreamland Area 51, which is actually Air Force Flight Test Center Detachment 3. That is the actual terminology for Area 51. Now, there's another facility, lesser known, called Tonopah Test Range, TTR, not too far from Groom Lake in Nevada, where they originally tested the F-117s. So let's go here. Analysis of Pentagon budget documents shows that from fiscal year 1985 to 1989, $500 million will have been spent building or improving black bases, secret facilities designed to support such activities as stealth aircraft operations, contingency facilities for Middle Eastern conflicts, hosting special operations units, electronic spy stations, and even combat hospitals stashed away in tunnels. So you can see here's where some of this billions and millions of dollars are being funneled in here. The hush-hush budget, secret U.S. arms funds mushroom under Reagan. This is Akron Bacon Journal, February 22nd, 1987. Two of those in the know, House Armed Services Committee Chairman Les Aspin, Wisconsin, and Ranking Minority Member William Dickinson, Alabama, think the Pentagon's secrecy is unjustified. They have said that 70% of the black budget could be declassified at no risk to the national security. That never happened. This is all the way back in the Reagan administration. Not only has it not happened, we're nowhere even close to getting 70% of the black budget declassified. And in point of fact, during the Clinton administration, we were spending $100 million per day on black budget funds. $100 million a day was being
probably likely because
ask
it's
yourself
connected
why. Right. Yeah.
because it's connected to all of this, to the UFO subject.
Yes, that's right. That's right. All right, continue on. The budget you can't see. In a shrinking defense pie, the stealth slice is growing thicker each year. Washington Post, July 7th, 1996. Within that article, how do you hide a black program? You use overly generic terms and code names so that nobody has the slightest clue what you're talking about. So this is the sneaking, conniving things they use here. Operational systems developed, that could be anything, right? Selected activities, that could be anything. Advanced program evaluation, special evaluation system, U.S. Navy classified code names, Retract Maple and Link Laurel. So that's how they hide a lot of this stuff. They come up with these bogus, nebulous terms that no one knows.
Back there. Housekeeping. What's housekeeping?
That's right. That could be anything, right?
That's
okay.
Mysterious.
The Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base has expanded its campus with a new office complex that includes 9-inch thick internal doors, 2 basement levels, and high security video conferencing capabilities. What are they designing and building? What are they hiding? Okay. They need these thick walls here, 9-inch thick internal doors. Something going on here. You can guarantee it. You can bank on it. Something going on here. The Pentagon Secret Stash, Mother Jones, March, April, 1992. Today, every day, close to 100 million flows through underground pipelines from the Treasury to the Pentagon to fuel the national security machinery of the United States. The black budget is the secret treasury of the nation's military and intelligence agencies. It is appropriated and spent with the barest public debate or scrutiny. Yeah. There's no congressional oversight. There's no public scrutiny. And so they're getting away with all this stuff.
That's infuriating.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. You know, they're certainly not going to tell us. And here's the part that is really interesting. A lot of the senators and congressmen in Washington, D.C., number one, they don't have a high enough security clearance to access these things, and they've never been read into the program. So how can they get access if they don't have a high enough security clearance? So that's another thing we're dealing with as well. This one I really love. This one, I just love this one. Back in the early days, when the CIA sought to build its present-day headquarters in Langley, Virginia, Richard Russell, of Georgia, then head of the Senate Armed Services Committee, simply created a fictitious new aircraft carrier and let the CIA siphon off the cash. Money for the ghost ship built the spook shop. Yeah, what I'm saying is they fabricated out of pure air an aircraft carrier,
Right.
and they pulled the money off of this. Can you believe this?
This is crazy.
Unbelievable. They made up the existence of an aircraft carrier that didn't even exist, and they pulled the money from there to finance their own building. If they can do that successfully, there's no telling what these guys can do.
You know,
What
Richard Russell is the guy who had a UFO sighting on a train in Russia.
Aha.
It's a very famous sighting. That makes me wonder now.
So, you know, that's what we're up against. If they can, I mean, what are we talking here? We're looking at about 2.3 billion. That's minimum for an aircraft carrier. We're looking at maybe 3 billion. If they can hide that, what else can they hide? Let's continue on here. The Pentagon's Black Programs, a vast industry conducted in secret. This is Philadelphia Inquirer, June 9th, 1985. Here we go. The so-called black world of military programs has become a nearly $30 billion industry based largely in California that encompasses tens of thousands of employees working under Pentagon clearances and beyond public scrutiny. So what you see here is what I've called, and this is talked about before, this is Aerospace Alley. And if anyone gets bored on a Sunday afternoon, you'd have to start Sunday morning. You can take a tour of Aerospace Alley. You start at San Diego and you head the 5 north. That takes you, eventually you'll get to the 405. That'll take you through Hawthorne. That'll take you through Northrop Grumman facility, old Pico Rivera, where they had these subcomponents for the B-2 stealth bomber. Continue heading northbound. You'll eventually get to the 14 North. That takes you into Antelope Valley, Lancaster. That takes you to Air Force Plant 42, which is absolutely ground zero for the military industrial complex. It does not get any more powerful than that. If anyone wants to know where the heart of the matter is, it's Air Force Plant 42.
Yeah,
we
there's
have
a couple other places. You and I'll talk about it afterwards. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Lockheed has a facility there. Boeing has a facility there. Northrop Grumman has a facility there. McDonnell Douglas had at one time a facility there. North American Rockwell has a facility there, which is now Boeing. They built the B-1 bomber. They also built the space shuttle there. So many things were actually built there, and then they're shipped over to Area 51 for testing. Now, if we keep on going north, off to the right, we've got Edwards Air Force Base. Of course, we've got Edwards North Base Complex where all the spook things going on, and then we terminate at Mojave. So this can be done in one day. You'd have to start early, but you could do Aerospace Alley in one day. All right, next one. I believe, quote, I believe we have classified too much. Secrecy is a measure that hurts our opponents a little and us a great deal. Dr. Edward Teller, Philadelphia Inquirer, June 9th, 1980. So even Edward Teller thinks there's too much secrecy going on. Coming from him, I think that's interesting.
Very.
Continuing on here. A growing movement in Congress seeks to publish the black budget's bottom line, citing the Constitution's demand that, quote, a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published. So far, the Clinton administration has stayed with the tradition of secrecy, despite the appeals in December from 12 powerful Democrats and congressmen. So here you see, even during the Clinton administration, nothing's changed. It is more likely to stamp things secret than it is to declassify. And it is in the Constitution that there should be an irregular accounting provided to taxpayers, because we're paying for all this, but it's not going on here.
This is essentially a constitutional crisis.
It's a constitutional crisis. Absolutely.
The laws are being broken
for a very, very long time. We have to wake up to the fact that we keep voting for people right now who are part of this, even in our government that we know about. And
that's the only choice we have. I mean, who do we vote for?
Over and over and over. And if you see certain congressmen sitting there for more than 10 or 20 years, ask yourself why. Okay? Because they're operating in a way that you don't understand. They don't know everything. They're compartmentalized with everybody else, but they are
Right.
feeding into the system, and they believe it's their duty to do so. And it's kind of creeping me out. Just so you know.
So if you had a crash retrieval program that fell under the jurisdiction of Immaculate Constellation, and you filtered off black budget funding from other programs, that would make it extra constitutional. It would make it almost essentially illegal, because you can't you can't do that. You have to provide an accounting of where the funds are going. You can't just siphon off other programs and hide it from other things. That's not how this works, according to the Constitution here. Let's continue on. Aspen says Pentagon can't find $20 billion in excess dividends. Where did the $20 billion go? I wonder. 1985. Let's continue on here. On the money, author explains wacky world of military buying. Dayton Daily News, May 28th, 1989. Here we go. So Pentagon officials urged to iron out nuts and bolts. This is Hattiesburg American, August 2nd, 1984. So now here we go. This is something I'm calling nuts and bolts at the Pentagon. The price is wrong. This is in $1984. Source Tampa Bay Times, August 2nd, 1984. So these are real world numbers. I'm not making up any of this. So Preston, do you want to be our happy face heart person? Whoever wins in the chat gets a heart here. All right. So are we ready? The price is wrong. Fraud, waste, and abuse in government spending. So let's start here. Washer civilian price, $3. So let's take a couple of bids in the chat room. So what bids do we have here? Somebody want to make a bid?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll start out the bids at $25.
Okay, Preston's got $25. Anybody else in the chat? Give us a price on what we think we paid for at the Pentagon.
Janice Conant has 27.
We got 10,000. This
First
is
is 10,000.
10,000. Okay, we got 5,000. Okay,
$5,000.
$12, $600, $100. Okay, we'll do one more bid. 1,200.
$1,200.
Okay, bidding has stopped. Bidding has some actual Pentagon price. $387.
Yeah, they like those uneven numbers too. It drives me crazy. Yeah.
Lawrence got
Okay.
closest.
All right, who got closest? I don't know, so someone will have to
Lawrence,
keep track of that.
I don't know. 500 was closest. 350. There you go. Kaleidoscope eyes.
Okay, all right. Let's
I don't know
continue
how to do a
on
happy face. Sorry,
to the
Kaleidoscope eyes.
next product in the price is wrong is a hammer. Civilian price 17, and we can go ahead and start the bidding. Here we go.
All right.
Yep.
What
I'm
is
gonna
our
say 50.
bidding here? Let's see.
No, wait. I'm going to say it.
What you got, Preston? What you got for us?
200.
200. Okay. 400. Richard's got 400.
500 from Bradley.
600. Bradley 500.
19,400.
19,000. Okay.
75.
Okay. 974.
You guys are being fast. 19,000.
Okay.
That's a
All
hammer.
right. One more bid. Okay.
787. That's pretty good.
Kaleidoscope 787. We'll cut it up. Actual Pentagon price 435.
Oh,
435.
wow. Susan Lawrence. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, good. She got it. All right. Let's go to the next product, and the price is
Look
wrong.
that up, Susan.
Allen wrench, civilian price 12 cents. Let's open up the bidding. Okay. 12 cents for an Allen. What did we pay for at the Pentagon? Here we
that
go.
better not cost more than $1.
Let's go. There we go. 55 is our current price here. All right. 1850.
3,092. 175.
Bidding goes fast here.
165.
Keith
All
Rowe,
right.
92. That
5
sounds about right.
seconds. 4, 3, 2,
47.
1. Bidding closed at 420. Okay, bidding closed. Okay, actual taxpayer price at the Pentagon, $9,609.
Oh,
What?
And I'm not making it up either. It's a real world number.
And I got 15 Allen wrenches in my toolbox right now.
Yeah.
I'll sell them to them.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh my
You
God.
can't make this up. You can't make this up.
are you kidding
These are
me?
real world numbers.
Is it made out of, what?
Yeah, I know. That's right.
That's
All right,
right.
let's go to the next
I don't
product.
think anyone got that one.
Here we go.
Did I even
Diode,
get close?
12 cents for a diode. 12 cents for a diode. Let's open up the bidding for the diode. Let's go ahead and start. Okay.
I'm going to say 20,000.
It's rare when you shock Dolly. Yes, Dolly. Even you got shocked on that one. All right. Here we go. 12 cents. Let's open up bidding on this one. What do we got here? All right.
650.
100, 15,000,
I don't know, it's
650.
electronic, a diode, something for, I would say
55,000. Why not?
2,500. Yeah.
20
20
grand.
grand. Yeah.
20 grand. All right. Bidding close in 5, 4, 3, 2,
650. Yeah.
1. Oil painter 600. Actual Pentagon price 110.
Okay.
A
Wow.
little more reasonable. Reasonable.
Wow.
Okay.
Everyone overbid. Oh, no, wait.
Everybody
John
overbid.
Schaefer's got
Now
real
I know
close.
that these people are crazy because
Yeah.
I would pay more for a diode. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
charge
right.
for a diode. Okay.
Okay, let's move
John
on to the
Schaefer's
next
wins that
product,
one.
and the price is wrong. Monkey wrench, $8. Okay, so let's open up the bidding for the monkey wrench.
Okay.
What do we
monkey
got
wrench.
here? Our tax dollars at work. Yes, that is correct. Okay, first bid, 110. 110. First bid.
I'm going to say 500.
750.
750.
Terrence has got 750. Okay,
Another six-
Michael. White
six-
Dragon's got, all right, 42.95. All right.
1,800. Okay.
Bidding close in 5, 4, 3,
135.
2,
200.
1. 1,200 odds got the letter. Okay. Actual Pentagon price, 2,228.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Did anyone
So-
get close to this one?
As,
This is insane.
as we're going through this,
Harbinger-
you can see how all the prices are just astronomical here. All right, let's go on to the next product here. Screwdriver, $1.69. And we will begin the bidding. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Our
I'm
first
afraid to
bid
even think.
today for the
Times it by
screwdriver.
100. Let's say
Preston's got a number
$500.
for us. Okay. Terrence 600. 600 is bid by Terrence. Okay.
285.
Amy 285. Ruth has got 923.
923.
Okay. Linda 150. Okay. 777 699. All right. Bidding closes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bidding closed. White Dragon 500. Actual Pentagon taxpayer price 265.
265.
It's a budget at 265, right?
I will sell you one for
About the other one.
260. You'll get a deal.
Yeah,
I
you get a
want
deal.
to know who thought all this up. I want to know who set all those prices.
All right, Amy.
Oh, yeah,
looks like you
I
won.
gave you the reference. I'll give it to you again. No, these are all real world numbers. Hex nut, 13 cents. All right, let's hit us with the hex nut here.
13 cents.
The money laundering is unreal. Yes,
Assume
absolutely.
it's made out of gold. I'm gonna say
Oh, Lord, a hex nut.
$50.
Preston,
White
you want to
Dragon.
open the White Dragon's got 500. Keith 65. We're bidding on the hex nut. 470, 200. Stop paying taxes. Yeah, really. 898. Okay, bidding closes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 28.99. Actual Pentagon price 2,043.
Ooh, that's right up there with the Allen wrench.
With the Allen
Wow.
wrench. That's
Okay.
correct. That's correct.
All
That's
right.
correct. Yep. All right. Let's
Really got
toolbox.
close on that one. Bob
Toolbox
Thorson, sounds like you got close.
1167 is your Home Depot price. What is the taxpayer price? And we'll open the bidding for the next product on the Price is Wrong.
It's not bad for a toolbox. $11. I'd pay that.
$11. Yep. Mhm. 3,000. 1,200. Okay. We got 1 million.
Yeah.
I'll do this all day. You know.
Okay.
I love this. I'll do this all day.
5,000. 480.
Okay. Bidding
2,500.
closes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last bid 500. Actual Pentagon price 652.
652. All right, Prince
All
Simon.
right.
Pretty close.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Couple of
So
800,000.
I'm just going to hit you with this one here. Quad City Times, June 4th, 1985. How much did we pay for ashtrays? Anyone want to take a guess? Let's just do a couple bidding on ashtrays. Anybody?
Hey, I made an ashtray at school, so
Yeah.
for like $5 in clay. So.
Yeah. Ashtray 700. We'll do a quick bid on this. 3,
500.
2, 1, 215, 500. Okay. 659 for ashtrays. Yep. That's how it went down. That's how it went down. Capital Times, May 29th, 1985.
They lost some revenue when everybody had to stop smoking. Well, look at that.
U.S. Navy probing 660 jet ashtrays. Calgary Herald, May 29th, 1985. Air Force armrest cost blank, panel told. Berkshire Eagle, September 20th, 1984. Okay, so an Air Force for the armrest. We're taking biddings right now. Anyone want to take a bid on an armrest, please?
Oh my gosh.
What do we got for the armrest today?
I'm gonna
Any
say
takers, any bidders?
200.
200, okay. 250, 2,500, okay. 1545, 900. Bidding closes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Air Force armrest, 670.
Wow.
670 for the armrest back in 1984. Okay.
Here or
All right,
content.
Michael wins that one.
We got a couple more here. Albuquerque Journal, March 22nd, 1985. Boeing's blank pliers cut to blank plus blank costs. So this is a pair of pliers. Boeing. What is our bid for our next product for the price is wrong? This is a plier we're bidding on here.
Pliers.
Let's see what we got for bids here.
I'm gonna give you $10.
$1,700. Okay.
$1,200.
We'll take two more bids.
Yeah.
Two more bids, $475 and $95. Okay. Pentagon price, $748 was the original price.
All
Yep,
right.
that was the original price. Mhm,
Looks like
mhm.
White Dragon got closest there.
So, Dolly, you were asking where I got all the numbers. Tampa Bay Times, August 2nd, 1984. There's your article right there, all the cost breakdown. So
Beautiful. Okay.
I didn't make up anything. These are all real world numbers. In point, if you're very interested, if you're a geek like me that likes to look into procurement funding at the Pentagon, you got to get a copy of this book, The Pentagon Catalog: Ordinary Products at Extraordinary Prices. And it gives you all these different products.
Can we get that on Amazon?
Yeah, you can get
All
it on
right.
Amazon.
Okay. Gotta buy it. All right.
So
Yep.
That's a good read right there.
Well, these
Oh my
prices obviously aren't going for the product itself, or where are they going?
It's what we're paying for at the Pentagon. That's what the price is. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
what we're
Now I
getting.
want to bring something up. Do you want to
Yes.
know who learned from them?
Who learned
Pharma.
from them?
Pharma and hospitals.
Oh,
yeah,
that's probably
that's
true.
right.
Yeah,
$100 for an aspirin.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I
Good
remember
call.
reading
That was a
about
good
that.
call. That was a very
Someone
good
got
call.
a tissue box. It was like $40 for tissues.
Pentagon spending. Chicago Tribune, August 5th, 1985. A major contributing factor of military cost overruns is the Pentagon itself and its silly spending price structure. According to congressional records, when contractors were asked how they arrived at prices for key aerospace components, company officials stated that the information was proprietary and could unfairly enhance the position of potential competitors. Many defense contractors pay no federal income tax. Contractors rarely appear before Congress to explain the hefty price tags attached to some spare parts. But when they do, they blame the problem on the Pentagon system that encourages companies to submit bills for everything from expensive parts to the company's country club dues, executive retreats at posh resorts, and parking tickets. So guess who gets to pay the parking tickets? We do.
Yeah.
Guess who gets the posh golf resorts? We pay for all that stuff.
Right.
Yep, that's how
And they
this is
do
going
this
down.
to keep these guys happy.
Yep,
literally.
that's how it goes down. Audit charges ripoffs by General Dynamics. Detroit Free Press, September 22nd, 1985. Chicago Tribune, November 6, 1983. 7,417 pin triggers wore an arm cost. So again, here's this Allen wrench, 9,609 for these Allen wrenches. So just documenting the cost on that one. Pentagon defense contractor doublespeak. So an antenna hexagon wrench is an Allen wrench. So that's when you plug these terms in a budget line item, people get confused. They don't know exactly what you're talking. They're only talking about an Allen wrench here, but they like to use word magic to make the products look more mysterious so that we don't know what it is. That's what they're doing with the word magic here. Defense contractors cost overruns probe, News Journal, April 2nd, 1985. Pricing defense supplies. Take 26 worth of plastic, add $900 labor and overhead. Daily News, August 21st, 1983. Okay, Pentagate. This is an interesting article here. Rat hole, the revolving door phenomenon. So let me try to explain the revolving door phenomenon. Let's say that you're a new defense contractor and you have a new aircraft that you'd like to get funding, like a new stealth bomber, for example, and we'll just throw it out there, new stealth bomber, you're this defense contractor. So you go to the Pentagon and you've got some crooked crony fat cats at the Pentagon, and you kind of grease the skids and pay them a little bit of money so that you're awarded the contract for the new stealth bomber. Okay. Now, when that Pentagon official retires, he is retained by the very same contractor that he helped win the program. So they can't lose. They're scratching each other's back. And so they have each other's back at the cost of $1 billion to the taxpayers. That's what's going on here. That's this whole concept of revolving door phenomenon. That's what it's all about. Let's go to the next one. What beautiful, that's beautiful. What makes it go? Bribery, military industrial complex.
Yep.
Yep. Cost overruns, billions of dollars. Okay. Since 1974, Air Force computers have automatically put spare parts ranging from bolts to airplane doors on a disposal list if no request for the item has been received for 12 months. After checking just a few warehouses earlier this year, Air Force inspectors discovered that about 1.5 million worth of spare parts scheduled for disposal as surplus were still needed, items that the Air Force was purchasing new at full price. So here you see the little cartoon. Scrap it and order a new one. The ashtrays are full. Yeah, that's what's been going on too. Like things that could be recycled and used, they're getting scrapped. And some of them are new and they're getting scrapped.
Right.
Aerospace
Hold on a
defense
second. I need to
contractor.
take a quick station ID break.
Okay. Mhm.
Oh my God.
And also, I just need to calm down for a second because I'm starting to get angry. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Light Gate. We're now on our second hour of episode 81. I'm your host, Preston Dennett. My lovely co-host is Dolly Saffron. Our guest tonight is Michael Schratt. We're talking about the black budget and how the Pentagon is spending about $1 million for toothpicks. But before we continue, I would like to let you know that we are streaming on several platforms, including the United Paranormal Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana. We are on Roku. Check us out there. We are on Rumble as well. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. And Dolly, hold up the little Carnation can. We want to thank our sponsor, Carnation. We love you. Thank you so much for supporting us. We truly appreciate it. And boy, Michael, I am going out of my mind with this. It's infuriating. It's worse than that. It's chilling. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable stuff that is not being talked about enough. So go on, freak us out.
Okay, so all right, so we want to talk about who's profiting in all of this. Now, this is just a small cross section. There are hundreds of subcontractors that are all cashing in on this, but like some of the primary contractors, General Dynamics, Boeing, Rockwell International, now Boeing, Northrop Grumman, McDonnell Douglas, which is now Boeing. Obviously, I've left out one, and you all know who it is, so I'll leave that to your discretion. But obviously, I've left out one here. Northrop accused of B-2 mischarges of over $20 billion. This is New York Times, November 7th, 1989. The lawsuit exposes a pattern and methodology of fraud that has permeated the entire B-2 program. I love this next one. Quote, the program was like some tapeworm that insinuated itself into the gastrointestinal system of the taxpayer. You can't word that any better. We're talking about $20
That's
billion.
very vivid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very vivid. It's very vivid. 20 billion.
Yeah.
Lots of money. Where did the 20 billion go? Did it go into Immaculate Constellation program? I wonder. This one I love. F-16 pulley puller. Cost in 1983, $13,717. So if you look at this drawing on the bottom here, we've got a little aluminum block. It's got 3 tapped holes in it. It's just over an 1/8 inch thick. We're looking at about 5/8 inch wide and then just under 3 inches long. And this is costing $13,717. You can go down to your local machine shop. They'll do this for $298. And here's the kicker. Let me go to the next one. chronology of the F-16 pulley puller. So in 1982 dollars, the price was $10,000, okay? 1983 revised price $13,717. Back on February 28th, 1984, they did a revised price of $9,007. And then March 19th, 1984, negotiated Air Force price $8,832. So this is from the Pentagon, it's page 214. So you can see how we got a bargain for $8,832, and they made hundreds of these. And here's where it really gets interesting. All of them had to be scrapped. So, you know, thousands and millions of dollars went into this. They scrapped every one of these things. So it was a complete total loss.
And there's every indication that this is still going on, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Defense contractor was paid $1 million to ship 2 washers. Okay.
Wow.
If this doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what does.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, we're in the wrong business. Washington Post, August 17th, 2007. Again, I'm giving you the references, the newspaper clippings, so you can verify all this on. I welcome a challenge, and that's why I'm giving you all the sources here. American taxpayers were charged $9,606 for a 12-cent Allen wrench. Pentagon is page 211. Let's go on here. Audit of Pentagon spending finds $70 billion in waste. New York Times, March 30th, 2011, $70 billion gone. Did that go to the deep underground military bases? Did it go to Tonopah test range improvements? Did it go to Immaculate Constellation reverse engineering program? I'd like to find out. Let's see on Wednesday, but they're not going to tell us. Some of
it went to weaponry as well. They've been developing weapons with that as well.
Correct. Are people in our government aware of this?
Is our government aware of this?
No, they're not.
Apparently not.
1 or 2 people. That's it.
Oh my God.
Yep. Let's continue on here. So the big question here is, so what did American taxpayers get for their multi-billion-dollar black budget investment? I want to know. I'm a concerned taxpayer. Hopefully we all want to know. So let's try to piece this together. What do we get for all the money that we spent? So we want to talk about 3 tiers of technology here. Tier number 1 is your common, ordinary, garden variety, vanilla flavored aircraft. That's your F-15s, your F-16s, your F-14s. That's tier 1. Tier 2 are previous black programs which have been declassified into the so-called white world. So that's your F-117s, your B-2 stealth bombers, your Boeing Phantom Works bird of prey. Tier 3 is the ones that we want to talk about, are classified, unacknowledged special access programs which have virtually no congressional oversight and circumvent the established laws of physics. So when you talk about tier 3 aircraft, you have to throw away Newtonian physics and start thinking along the lines of quantum physics. That's what we want to talk about for tier 3 aircraft here. All right. In-house terms used in the military intelligence / defense industry to describe classified assets. So if you hear in congressional hearings or on C-SPAN, like a high-level Pentagon official, if you hear these terms, perk up your ears because they're talking about your tier 3 aircraft. So if you hear the term ace in the hole technology, if you hear the term trump card technology, if you hear the term silver bullet technology, they're talking about the tier 3 aircraft. All right, Aerospace Alley. We talked about this a little bit before. You can follow the map to go look at all these locations where they're building all of this in secret. San Diego had the 5 North. You continue on to the 405, that gets you to Hawthorne, that gives you to Northrop Grumman. Other defense contractors are there. Continuing on the 5 North, that'll get you to the 14th. Then you're starting to head but to Palmdale, Lancaster. That takes you into Air Force Plant 42, where multiple laboratories are there. That is ground zero for the military industrial complex. Continuing up the 14th past Roseman, you'll get over to Edwards North Base Complex, and then you will terminate your tour at Mojave, and you can all be done in one day. So this is Aerospace Alley. Next, Air Force Plant 42. I cannot stress this enough. It is absolutely ground zero for the military industrial complex. All right, so then we come to this article. Aviation Week Space Technology, November 11th, 1991. 2 unusually loud sonic booms heard along the west coast from San Diego to north of Los Angeles, California. may have been produced by high-flying classified aircraft returning to test ranges in Nevada. 25 of the U.S. Geologic Survey's 220 sensor system for pinpointing earthquake epicenters detected the passing shock waves around 6:30 a.m. on October 31st. The instruments have recorded the shock waves from SR-71 flights and space shuttle reentries in the past. Okay, so I thought, let me see. Something's coming over Catalina Island, booming the LA basin, and then heading kind of toward Area 51. I wanted to see if I could track down any actual records. So I took this article, I sent this to Caltech, essentially, U.S. Geologic Survey, and I wanted to see if they had any records of this. So I called them up, sent this. They sent me back this report here. And you'll notice here up on the top, it says sonic. Okay, so this is not a seismic event. This is a sonic event.
That's Mach 4, Mach 5.
Yes,
Something
there you
was
go.
going Mach 4, Mach 5.
There you go.
That's Mach 4
Well
signature
done.
right there.
Well done. Well done, Dolly. Something was coming in, and you
Right.
can see boom. So there is your classified aircraft returning to Area 51. So
But that's
this might
pretty
be
damn fast, too. Think about it. Mach 4 and Mach 5. ET can move through our space at between 13,000 feet per second. That's Mach 7 to 9, okay? Or higher. As it's moving along, it gets faster, actually. That's impressive. They're trying to chase something with that. That's incredible. Or go from one side of the planet to the other in less than an hour.
There
That's
you go. Ooh, I like those words. Let's continue on here.
Okay.
Lee Graham did some good research. He contacted the United States Department of Interior, and he wanted to get the tracks from the Department of Interior and to see what days they were on, what times they were on, and what direction this craft was flying. And they gave it to him. So I'm going to hit you with the printouts here. So this is Catalina Island, Thursday, January 30th, 1992, 7:17 a.m. So you can see here, boom. And there was a slight second boom a couple of minutes after that. Not the shuttle, okay, recorded from Catalina Island. This is Thursday, January 30th, 1992. Now, during the early 1990s, people listening to this broadcast might remember that there were multiple booms going on in the mornings, and it was always on a Thursday morning. And I want to explain why Thursdays. Let's continue on here.
All right, just want to make a point. He was accelerating there. That's not a slowdown either. That's a speed up. He came probably in at Mach 1. Nobody heard him or saw him until he hit Mach 2, and then he hit Mach 4. That's a speed up, not a slowdown. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you can see the track they were going here toward Tonopah, toward Area 51 over Edwards. So it looks like they were on landing approach. They were coming back from a long mission over the ocean, and now they were slowing their descent toward Area 51. That's the track that we're showing here toward Tonopah, toward Area 51.
Yeah.
Secret is out on quakes. It's a spy plane. Los Angeles Times, April 17th, 1992. The rumble and bounce have occurred 5 times since last June, always around 7 a.m. on Thursdays. There were no earthquakes, but an aircraft, California Institute of Technology seismologists say. All I can say is that it's something that's traveling through the atmosphere at several times the speed of sound in a generally northeasterly direction, said Jim Morey, a United States Geologic Survey seismologist at Caltech.
Yep.
Seattle Times, April 17th, 1992. Thursday morning shaker upper may be secret spy plane. It happened again Thursday morning. There was a brief rumble, like somebody moving bulky furniture around, and the ground lurched, San Gabriel residents said. Then, just as they were about to head for the door frames, it was gone. Weird jolts, no quakes in San Gabriel Valley. San Francisco Chronicle, April 18th, 1992. Analysts from the Jane's Defense Weekly, the widely respected military periodical, say that the Thursday morning phenomenon could be a top secret new spy plane dubbed the Aurora that can fly up to 6 times the speed of sound, or around 4,000 miles per hour. Okay, so let's stop here. Why Thursday? Because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is pre-flight. Thursday is the test flight.
That's right.
Friday is debrief. Saturday, Sunday, there's no one at the base. So in the mid 1980s, going up to around 93 time frame, They usually always had test flights of classified aircraft on Thursday mornings. And that tracks with what we know. So that's tracking. Yep. Okay. Black Star program, Aviation Week Space Technology, March 6, 2006. I want to give credit to my good friend Bill Scott, who is the former Rocky Mountain editor of Aviation Week Space Technology. He had been chasing this story for 16 years. He knew there was a classified aircraft out there, and he'd been getting sources from all around the country who had seen this thing, who had heard it. There were people who worked on the program that came to him. He pieced all this information together. He wrote this bombshell article about Black Star program. Fantastic. Additional resources from John Andrews, again, Senior Project Design Engineer, Testers Model Corporation in San Diego. Now, this is to Pete Ames, dated February 22nd, 1994. The place, Kadena Air Force Base. The time, the weekend of 12-13 February 1994. Initiating action. This is interesting. Emergency call from manned aircraft to expedite recovery at Kadena Air Force Base. Coming from north, track speed Mach 4.2, diversions for other aircraft in area. Process, aircraft recovered and quickly placed in secure hangar. Red 3 lockdown declared at base. Other pilots landing kept and slept in ready quarters. One white/gray C-5C launched from Holloman rapidly. 3 days of lockdown at base. So here we've got some secret aircraft landing at Kadena back in 1994 that was going Mach 4.2. So that takes out the SR-71 right there. That takes out the
Where
SR-71.
is Kadena? Do you know where Kadena is?
Yeah, that's in Japan. That's in Japan. That's in over there. So the Blackbird is capable of Mach 3.3, not Mach 4.2. So we can take out that. Something made an emergency landing. The letter says they diverted other traffic around it. So all F-15s, F-16s, they had to fly away as this thing is screaming down. Made an emergency landing. It was put in a secure hangar, and then a C-5 came in, flew it out of there. So let's go on to the next one here. So here's the drawing based on the eyewitness testimony of people that have seen this thing. This is your Black Star program, a 2-stage to orbit space plane that can be anywhere in the world in less than 3 hours. So in a nutshell, I want to go over this real quickly. We'll do this quickly. Most of the people listening to this broadcast right now remember what happened on January 28th, 1986. Dolly, Preston, do you recall that date? Does it ring a bell at all?
Challenger?
Exactly. Well done.
Yeah.
Challenger, correct. So on January 28th, 1986, we lost the Challenger, we lost our astronauts, and we also lost something called our assured access to space, because a significant majority of shuttle flights were classified DoD payloads. And concurrently, when the Challenger, we could call it loss, happened, there were concurrent Titan II booster failures at the same time. The Air Force was out of business. So they went to the defense contractors and they said, we want you to design for us a rapid response 2-stage to orbit space plane system that could be anywhere in the world in less than 2 hours. And they came up with a Black Star program. If you look on the upper left here, you've got stubby vertical. That was something that may have had an interaction with the bottom of the mothership, causing the emergency landing that we just talked about over at Kadena. Now, this thing had linear aerospike engines. It had outrigger wheels. Let's look at the top view here. You can see that there was red protective areas on the leading edge. This is thermal ablasive systems here. It has a Q bay for a synthetic aperture radar system. It can launch rods from God. They can do that. Now, let's look at the bottom view.
I want to make a point right now.
Go ahead.
The R-22, the Raptor 22, is exactly configured to fly just like that, just so you know. That was their initial Mach. To get to Mach 3.4, a Raptor can go about that fast. And most people are going, dude, they don't know this. They don't understand that a Raptor, and most of the UFO sightings involving R-22s were multiple UFOs were, and I know this, you're not going to hear this from the government. You're going to hear it from me. Okay, because I was involved in some of this, where we surrounded them. They've got, and I'm opening classified information for y'all dummies, where it's flying. We'd get above it, below it, and side to side. It can maneuver unbelievably. It can go straight up, straight down. It can land with its butt down and flop. It can do anything. We stayed with it. We gave it every chance to get away from us, to do every maneuver it could think to get away from us. And we stayed with it, stayed with it, stayed with it. We even went belly up with it. Okay. Mm-hmm. They were freaking out. They had everything they had. The government knew that we were watching them build that plane, that jet. Okay. And we knew why already. And now they come up with this. They need to roll this one out for everybody to look at, because this is a superstar. You don't need the shuttle to go into space. You don't need, Elon Musk is doing really good with everything he has, but there's some back engineering involved in some of his stuff too. Just saying. Okay. This thing can take off and go into space on its own. It's the next step in flying into space. In other words, going to the ISS, things like that. This thing is going to be equipped to do exactly that. Wow. It's not just going to fly here. There's more going on to it than you know. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so if you look off to the right, we've got the bottom view where we have these space shuttle tiles taken directly off the space shuttle. That is the thermal resistant ablative tiles. And then within the tiles are machine grooves. Okay, so that was talked about by the witnesses. Now, on our bottom view, you've got the Q bay on top. You've got outrigger skis, that this thing actually had outriggers. And then we have solid rocket boosters that are loaded like shotgun shells into the back of this thing, where they have 2 ports. So if you go in my upper left-hand view, you'll see the 2 ports. That's where the SRBs go in there. Now, what these have is a slush type of a toothpaste fuel. That's the consistency of what this fuel is here. Let's go to the next one. Now, to carry that craft, you have to have a motor.
Before you go to that one, that patch you had on the last, this one, don't ask, patchwork chipmunk cheek. Is this for real?
Yeah, there is a patch that looks like that. So don't ask, NOYFB. You know what that stands for, Pentagon? Preston? Preston.
No, I don't.
Dolly?
I wouldn't even try to guess. I could probably guess, but I'll let you say it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to say all of it. None of your FB.
Oh.
That's where I was going to go. I'm sorry. I can't say bad words on TV. So, okay.
Can't say it.
Okay. You're a little more classy.
Sorry to interrupt, but I was curious.
That's okay. All right. So now keep in mind, this is a system. This is a 2-stage to orbit space plane system. So you have to have a mothership to carry what was called the XOV, or experimental orbital vehicle, or also known as SPEEDY. Now, the mothership is what you've got right here. This is the SR3 mothership that looks a lot like the vintage 1960s XB-70, but it's larger. Yep. Okay, it's actually much larger. It's almost called the Super Valkyrie. You've got 3 people. You've got the pilot, you've got the co-pilot, you've got the launch control officer. He is the liaison between the mothership and the parasitic aircraft. Now, the most important thing about this is, now underneath this craft, it looks like someone took an ice cream scooper and scooped out the entire bottom surface of this, leaving a cavity for this parasitic aircraft to sit up and tuck up inside. That's what this thing does. And now when they get to the appropriate altitude and airspeed, they drop this from the belly of the mothership, and then they pour the coals to this thing. Now, also want to mention, I have spoken to 3 people specifically who have seen this craft with their own eyes. One person that I spoke to, I won't mention her name, but she said that you see these canards on the front nose of this thing. She said not only did the Delta wing configuration have winglets on it, the canards had winglets as well. This is a definite point that she talked about. So in a nutshell, this is your SR3 mothership. Okay, so here's our full color rendering. This is the unloading at Holloman Air Force Base. So they picked it up at Kadena. They flew the thing all the way back to Holloman Air Force Base, and there was a tarp covering this stubby vertical stabilizer, where there might have been an incident where this craft actually rammed up against the bottom of the mothership, and that's how they had to make the emergency landing. Now here you can see these twin linear aerospike engines, and you can also see the ports for the loading of the shotgun shells, SRBs, solid rocket boosters. Let's continue on here. Now, I have a world exclusive for everyone. I didn't want to just leave you stranded with 3-view drawings. And I wanted to see if I could make this thing come alive. So I took everything I could possibly get on the Black Star program. That includes all the drawings, all the sketches, all the illustrations, all the pilot reports, all the reports that Bill Scott got over 16 years. I put all that information together. I sent it 9,000 miles across the world to the Philippines, where they make the best models in the world, carved out of mahogany. And I said, please build for me a scale model replica of the Black Star program. And this is what we got. I don't believe we're going to get any closer than this. So you can see it. It's got this white configuration. You've got the canards. You've got the winglets on the canards. You've got the leading edge that has a black section that was talked about. You've got a massive air intake on the bottom of this thing that leads to a triple 6-pack on the back of it. Let's reverse the viewing perspective here. It had a spine that rolled down the basically the blended wing configuration. It's a delta configuration. Again, we have a pilot, a co-pilot, and a launch control officer. Let's go to the next view here. Now, what I did is I designed this to have magnets buried inside this thing. And then I also told the builders over in Philippines to put magnets in the little parasitic aircraft, so this thing would magnetically go right inside the belly of the mothership. So here's our parasitic aircraft. We've got the Q bay, and this thing just sucks right up into the bottom of the aircraft itself. Here you've got the heat abrasive thermal tiles taken directly off the space shuttle. We've got the milled in grooves. They were also seen by the witnesses. And then if you look at the bottom of this section at the back, you've got the cavity. And then I'm going to go to the next slide. This will show you how the parasitic aircraft fits up inside the belly of the mothership. And lady, go ahead, Dolly.
I have an NDA. I can't say anything.
You can't say, okay.
It's breaking my heart. It's just breaking me.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I'm saying here is ladies and gentlemen, this is where your tax dollars are disappearing. One of the programs. This is just one of the programs. And we haven't even got into any of the other programs. And there's a significant amount of black budget aerospace programs that have not been dislodged since the beginning of the Reagan administration. So at least 12 programs that have not been released during the Reagan administration. So we want to ask the question, are some black programs nothing more than a cover to hide the funding of even deeper unacknowledged special access programs? The answer to that is yes. Okay. Aerospace engineers working on the Black Star program were specifically told to, quote, charge your time to the A-12 Avenger 2 program. This is March 6, 2006. So how do you fund the Black Star program? You pull money off the A-12 and you charge it to A-12. That's how you do it. You rob Peter to pay Paul on these programs. That's what they've done. That's absolutely what they've done. Let's continue on here. This one I love. Air Force 2025 report, okay? This is 5.6. Everybody chime in on this one. 5.6, airborne holographic projector. Brief description. The holographic projector displays a three-dimensional visual image in a desired location removed from the display generator. The projector can be used for psychological operations and strategic perception management. It is also useful for optical deception and cloaking, providing a momentary distraction when engaging an unsophisticated adversary.
Worse than that, Michael. It's absolutely worse than that. And I'm going to say it outright right now. Everybody's talked to me about it. That's because I've dropped it. The Phoenix Lights were exactly that. Do you understand? They had all kinds of things going on, and that was a
the main one. There was stuff. There was real stuff going on at the time, but the main one that people.
Well, UFOs were watching them. I mean, we were watching them, okay? But in the valley, all of that was that. That was 12D technology on a plane projector.
Right, so this is Air Force 2025 report. In other words, what the Air Force would like to see in the field by year 2025. Essentially, we're here now, okay? But they already had this technology 30 years ago. We're just hearing about it in this report. Now, look at the wording here. They're going to be using this for psychological operations. So
Right.
like if you wanted to project an image of an F-117 a mile away from the actual aircraft, you could do it. If you
Or
wanted to
a UFO incoming firing
Yes.
lasers at people.
if you wanted to project an image of a UFO that's a part of a quote unquote false flag alien invasion, you could do it with this
You bet.
technology. And
That's
then
right.
look at what it says here. When engaging an unsophisticated adversary, is that us? Is that
Yes.
us? Is that what they consider us? We're the unsophisticated adversary. Yeah, I love the wording on this. The bottom line is they could project any image that they wanted to, and it would be absolutely 100% seamless and completely believable. So
Correct.
it's a done deal. Yep, let's continue on here. So
Wow.
the black triangles, okay, we've heard black triangles all around the world. Let's do a few minutes on black triangles here. This is November 22nd, 1985, 15 miles northwest of Madison, Wisconsin. Here's what the witness said. The underside of the craft resembled the back of a refrigerator, like a collection of condensation pipes that ran back and forth. So I want to just go to the drawing here, and you can see all these pipes that are going back and forth. What is the what is the point of all of this here?
Freezing
again.
magnetics so that they can use anti-grav.
Yep. Craft was seen by a Wisconsin state employee hovering silently over Highway CV 15 miles northwest of Madison, Wisconsin. The object was approximately 40 feet across and 90 feet in length. According to the eyewitness, the underside of the craft resembled, quote, the back of a refrigerator, like a collection of condensation pipes that ran back and forth. After gliding over the witness's vehicle, the craft departed at tremendous speed and left no sonic boom. This is back in 1985. They already got the technology.
Right.
They already got that technology. And here we have Elon Musk down the road here, still building liquid rockets, obsolete technology when they already had this technology decades ago.
Yeah.
So I ask all of you, I present, is this what you would expect to see on the back of an alien spacecraft, an extraterrestrial spacecraft?
Knowing
No.
that it takes freezing temperatures to get a magnet to fly free on its own. You know, and they can guide it with other systems and stuff like that. You don't need tracks. And they're freezing the technology because they have to. It's the only technology they know how to do.
Yeah.
Or are they super chilling the bottom of these craft using liquid nitrogen, chilling them down to minus 276 degrees Kelvin, turning the entire bottom of the craft into a superconductor? Is that what's going on here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Southern Illinois Flying Triangle. I have to talk about this. This is January 5th, 2000. This made international news all around the world. It's all ancient history now. We're talking 25 years ago now. But back then it was a huge thing. We had multiple reports. We had reports from at least 5 different police officers that saw this thing.
Went right over Scott Air Force Base.
Yep.
Yeah.
The bottom, this is Shiloh, Illinois police officer David Martin. Quote, the bottom of the craft resembled building blocks with plumbing pipes. So here's these pipes again. Is this what we would expect to see on the bottom of an alien spacecraft?
No.
Okay, what Republic Times, January 12th, 2000. What is shaped like an arrowhead as big as a football field, 2 stories tall and flies slowly through the air? If you don't know, don't feel bad. People across the Metro East saw an object fitting that description, floating slowly overhead early last Wednesday morning, and no one yet has been able to explain what it was. Okay, so here is Officer Craig Stevens here. He says, object in sky draws interest of UFO researchers. This is Collinsville Journal, January 16, 2000. This thing was huge. It was moving like a blimp from south at about 500 to 1,000 feet above the ground. I could only hear a very low decibel buzzing sound. But then it says here, officer says he is 98% sure object was experimental or military. He doesn't believe this is an alien spacecraft. He thinks it's one of ours.
No, sometimes they look like a wall of stadium lights coming at you. I had one fly over me in 2006. It was like, look at that. I was on my way to work in the middle of the night. Whoop, it went right over me.
These things are flying in full view of everybody.
Absolutely.
Absolute impunity.
And we hear about this low frequency electrical humming noise, like a transformer or a sewing machine pops up again and again and again. Okay. It's more evidence in support of a man-made technology, not an extraterrestrial technology. Okay. Now here's the 3-view drawing I came up with based on Officer Craig Stevens' sketch. And I want to hit you with what is talked about here. Okay, so we've got Officer Stevens stated that the craft tried to camouflage itself against the night sky and was projecting the star field above it on the underside. So it was using star field camouflage. So if you had the constellation of Orion above it, you could use electrochromic panels and electrically transfer the image above it on the underside, allowing it to blend in with the background. That's exactly what
they learned the cuttlefish from down craft. That's back engineered stuff. Yeah.
So they've got that technology. Now, also, if anyone lives in the Lancaster, Palmdale, Antelope Valley area, if you drive north on 14 toward Edwards Air Force Base, there's a big billboard that talks about the B-22, the B-21 Raider, the new stealth bomber, and Northrop Grumman program. And it says, it's detectable until it's not. Are they using electrochromic panels on that? Is that what they mean by it's detectable until it's not? So they're not just talking about radar observability here. They're talking about visual stealth, daytime stealth. That's what they're talking about. That's what that billboard secretly means here. Let's continue on. World exclusive. So here's Rudy's drawing of Officer Craig Stevens, January 5th, 2000. Yeah. And you see the constellation of Orion on the bottom. This thing would blend in perfectly with the background. I mean, these guys are geniuses. They've done a great job. They've done an absolute great job. So we will take this drawing as a guide and we'll go to the full color rendering. And this is what we came up with by Officer Craig Stevens. I want to give credit to Joel Payne, who did a great job on this, but it's the level of technology they have now is orders of magnitude what you would see at your local air show. Let's continue on. So what backing do we have on this daytime stealth technology? All the way back to 97. Popular Science, Invisible Aircraft, Daytime Stealth for Future Fighters. Yeah, they've got it. They've got it. Triangular UFO model by Tom Jensen, sighted January 5th, 2000, Union, Missouri. This is what he saw. He was so impressed by it. He built a whole scale model of this thing. This is a great model, just a fantastic model. UFO drama, thousands watch in awe. So we're talking about Belgium Triangle, 1989-1990. This is the sun, July 23rd, 1991. These things were like the size of a football field. They were shining spotlights down on the bottom of this thing. And here's some of the foreign press and also Wall Street Journal. Belgian scientists seriously pursued triangle UFOs despite jokes. Since the rash of sightings here began almost a year ago, more than 2,600 have been reported of a triangular object with 3 huge lights hovering in the night sky over Wallonia. Same type of beaming spotlights were seen 1982, 1989 during the Hudson Valley wave north of New York. Let's continue on here.
I wonder why Belgium got so picked on. It's strange.
Yes. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit here. New York Tribune, November 15th, 1990. Thousands of witnesses, including dozens of gendarmes and officers of the Belgian Air Force, have described triangular-shaped vehicles flying slowly over rooftops, hovering, beaming searchlights, and performing incredible maneuvers. So here it is, New York Tribune is talking about this. So I took the reports from the eyewitnesses and the newspaper clippings. I came up with a SolidWorks model, and this shows you what these tubes, pipes, and cylinders are basically the configuration on the bottom here. Also want to talk about this here. The colonel of the Belgian Air Force reported that the craft accelerated from 280 kilometers per hour to 1,800 kilometers per hour in less than a second, which was equivalent to 40 Gs, yet there was no sonic boom. So they have absolutely made the breakthrough. They've done it. They've absolutely made the breakthrough. This is your tier 3 aircraft here, your aerospace program. Here is the F-16 Intercept. Now, they didn't get quite this close within visual range, but they did get it on the onboard F-16 radar. And this is the Belgium Triangle, 1989, 1990.
I want to make a point here.
Go ahead.
These craft are not manned. physically manned. Do you realize that, right?
no,
They work
that's
on them. They come
wonderful.
ready to
Some of them can be manned. Some of them can be manned.
not with the full systems operating, because to go that fast would kill a human. If you see them moving that fast, they're not manned. They don't
Not
have the technology to protect them inside. That's the point I'm trying to make. They cannot fly that fast with that many G's with men on board. The men go on board to get it up and running. They check everything. They'll even do preliminary flights with it, whatever, but they are unmanned. And we have one reason we have a worldwide net above our heads is because they have to have that kind of contact with those craft. In other words, the GPS finding, the signals, all of it has to be a thing. And here's a kicker. Every time we have an X-class flare that goes up and it's significant and causes problems for us, they can't fly them then either unmanned, because they can't fly and they will crash, and they have crashed. That's a point I'm trying to make.
I will concur to you to a certain degree. There is a significant percentage that are unmanned, but there are some manned craft as well. And
Right. Well, I'm saying you're correct in that. I'm saying the same thing, but they're not manned if they're going 0 to 1,800 miles an hour suddenly.
ETs can do it, but we can't.
Okay, so August 25th, 1990, Barnsley, England. So we've got a couple that is coming out of a Fleetwood Mac concert. They're queuing to get out of this thing. It's at night. I've shown it the daytime here. This is a retired police officer with 30 years of experience. And I want to credit David Marler for giving me this case. It didn't even make it into his book. This is on an honor system. So he gave me this case from the police officer. And here's the view as this thing was emerging from this dark cloud. Here is the drawing that I put together based on his original sketch. And you can see this, it had a white light at each corner. There was an indented section with a white light. And then there was this crossbeam and girder construction. And then he said that there were two human-looking figures looking through these rectangular shaped windows back at him. So I'm not going to go over his full testimony, but this is what he said, quote, "The side of the craft appeared to have several illuminated windows, and I saw 2 to 3 figures that appeared to be human. Certainly nothing about the figures made me think they were anything other than human, reinforcing my belief that the craft was a military project."
Okay, I have a dumb question. What year was this?
This is 1990, Barnsley, England.
They already had you're just now hearing about robots and autonomy. They already had that back then.
Of course.
Come on. Okay. And better than anything you understand. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
anytime that we hear about a technology or see a technology, it's already 40 years old.
That's
So
right.
Yeah.
basically the rule of thumb here. All right. So we want to talk about the TR-3B, and we want to talk about Edgar Fouché. Okay. So you were talking, Dolly, that it could not be manned. Well, if you're using a magnetic field disruptor, it can be manned. Mercury-based plasma pressurized to 250,000 psi and rotated at 50,000 RPM. The magnetic field disruptor generates a magnetic vortex field which disrupts or neutralizes the effects of gravity on mass within the proximity, reducing the weight by 89% and also G-forces by 89%. So
Okay, I want to stop you. Whoa. First of all, that plasma is at 27,000 degrees. How hot do you think plasma has to be plasma? Mercury plasma burns very hot. It would get so hot in there, they would die. Now, an android or an AI could be in there, but not a physical human being. That's why they mostly remote do them. They do not have the technology of ET. This is an approximation of their technology. It is not even close. And that the whole thing, any electromagnetic energy that you got going anywhere created to do anything, pressurize, rotate, any of that is going to destroy human life within 15 minutes, period. And they've had enough deaths to know that's true. This is disinformation that you're being filtered to about their technology. It is not true. You cannot fly that manned by human biological people. It is all unmanned or AI. With
that's not what Edgar Fouché is telling us.
Well, then he's been lied to too, and he's spreading disinformation. I don't believe him. I don't believe.
Well, let's go on because we're running out of time.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Hudson Valley Boomerang, in a nutshell, this is 1982 to 1989. We had 25,000 eyewitnesses that saw a gigantic boomerang-shaped craft with tubes, pipes, and cylinders on the bottom of it. It had multicolored flashing lights. It had transparent panels that you could look up inside the interior structure of the craft that had this cross beam and girder construction. This is seen by 25,000 eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Inquirer, September 28th, 1984. This is Dennis Sant. He's no longer with us. As it hovered, I could make out dark, smoky colored metallic beams underneath, huge, huge beams. So he saw the bottom structure and the interior of this thing. And it had this cross beam and girder construction. We're not talking about alien technology here. Then we have Monique O'Driscoll. She's gone to all of these original Hudson Valley witnesses. They're all gone. It's ancient technology. This is old news now, completely forgotten about. Here's what she said. I could see the underbelly part. It's solid. It had metal type work like cross beams and tubular things hanging down here and there. I was so close I could have thrown a ball and hit it. So she's talking about metal work and cross beams, same type thing that Dennis Sant was looking. Now she was at a place called White Pond with her daughter, also called Monique, where this boomerang-shaped craft flew directly over their vehicle. It caused static on the radio system. So that's CE2 and CE1 because it had physical effects. It hovered over the frozen White Pond, and she could see the reflection of the bottom of the craft onto the ice below. And this thing made a 180-degree turn, hovered over the dry lake bed, and then all the multicolored flashing lights went off in sequence. So you had the whites go off, the blues go off, the greens went off, the yellows go off, and the reds go off. And then the whole pattern repeated itself multiple times.
Any theory about the rainbow lights? I mean, it's pretty. Is that what the attention, trying to get people's attention?
Well, it had pipes on the bottom of it. It had vents on the bottom of it. This is not an extraterrestrial technology craft. Here you see the bottom view looking, and you look closely here, you can see the vents on the bottom of it here.
Prince Solomon is asking the same question. Why the colored lights?
Number one, because they're brazen. They want to be seen. They want people to think this is extraterrestrial technology. That's how these guys roll here. March 24th, 1983, Taconic State Parkway. This was a Thursday. So here's another one of these Thursdays. In a nutshell, you've got hundreds of people going the Taconic State Parkway. They look up and they see this absolutely massive boomerang-shaped craft with a triangle trailing edge. It was shining spotlights down on the road below. People pulled off to the side of the road, slammed on the brakes, got out of their vehicles, were looking up at this thing, and they said it had transparent panels on the bottom where you could look up inside, and it had this cross beam and girder construction like a truss bridge. Let's continue on here. Next slide. Taconic State Parkway. This is so significant, so integral to the whole story here. You can drive this road today. I mean, I love going down this road because it's so historic. You see these circles off to the left, Danbury, Brewster, Yorktown, Millwood, people living in those areas. You know what I'm talking about. That's exactly where all this went down, in that area. It was following the path of the Taconic State Parkway. And when it came to a stop, it was hovering directly above the treetops. And when it made a turn like it was on a pinwheel. Okay. All the lights were rock solid in concrete as this thing made a flat 180-degree turn. We are not talking about planes flying in formation. They cannot duplicate what the original Hudson Valley craft made. So I've got the turntable here. This is exactly what the witnesses described. According to eyewitnesses, when the craft turned, it did not bank, but instead rotated as if it were a turntable or pinwheel. That's how these things turn. That's exactly how these things turn. Wow. The Boomerang, Westchester County, New York, 1983 to 1984. We want to talk about what our good friend Stanton Friedman talked about here. This is a letter to Tony Gonzalez from Stanton Friedman, January 17, 1990. I have always been bothered by the Westchester County sightings because I never heard of actions that would clearly label the technology alien. Wings in outer space could only be decoration, but do, of course, match an earthling approach. Stanton is absolutely correct. Why would you need wings and multicolored flashing lights in space? It's completely useless.
Correct.
Stanton is correct. We're dealing with a man-made technology here. Now, throughout the very beginning stages of the Reagan administration, we're talking about 81 to 83 timeframe, these terms were huge in the beginning of the Reagan administration. We heard terms like the evil empire. We heard first strike, early warning, mutual assured destruction, strategic defense initiative. These terms kept getting pounded into us during the early Reagan years. At the same time, the Hudson Valley boomerang sightings were going on. So I thought, is there a connection between the Reagan buildup early years and the Hudson Valley boomerang sightings, let's say 81, 83, 82 timeframe?
Yes.
Was there a connection there? Okay, so now we want to talk about relocatable over-the-horizon radar. Very quickly here. A powerful shortwave signal from a large transmitting antenna reaches a target beyond the horizon by reflecting off the ionosphere, and the echo signal from the target returns to the receiving antenna by the same route. Okay, so this is your relocatable over-the-horizon radar. Now, there's a problem with this. Does anyone can see the problem? Dolly, any guesses?
Well, if it's moving, it loses it, it gains it, it loses it. You can't triangulate it at all. Not in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Why?
Well, even though this is relocatable, they're static. Okay, they're buried in concrete. You can't move these things. They are susceptible to Russian bomber attacks.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great if we had the same technology, but an airborne mobile over-the-horizon radar system, something that could float and float?
You just made my point.
Town.
Every satellite that's below the ISS is for that reason whatsoever. What do you think Starlink is for? Okay, go ahead.
So are we looking at an airborne mobile over-the-horizon radar system? Was that what the Hudson Valley boomerang was? So now I got a source who talked about Dragon, okay? This is Digital Reconnaissance and Observation Network, operated by the National Reconnaissance Office. We've got the contractors off to the left. I'm not going to go through all of this here, but we've got Northrop is involved, thermoset, gyroscopes, RF, Lambedia, RF transmitter. Again, not going to go over, but this is the list of all the contractors involved with this program called Dragon. October 28th, 1983, Croton Falls, New York. We have a witness report of something that looked very similar to this triangular shaped craft. Yeah. All right, so who's gonna close this out for us? Well, we'll go to our ex-president, former president Lincoln here. So Abraham Lincoln, you may fool all of the people some of the time. You can even fool some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. So Thank you, Abraham Lincoln. We now know that you can't fool us anymore. We've got their number now. We know what they're doing. They're spending billions on classified black budget funding, no congressional oversight, no public scrutiny. It's being funneled into these USAP programs, and it's high time for these programs to be declassified. And we'll close it out with this statement here. The Constitution has provisions built in for legal black programs, which are specifically designed to protect our war fighters in battle and for the national security of the United States. However, there is an underlying subset of deep black programs and operations which are far more dark, sinister, and illegal that are eroding the fabric of our democracy. They have virtually no congressional oversight or public scrutiny. The real threat to our national security is the excessive secrecy associated with these projects. The time for these deep black programs to be exposed and come out into the light has truly arrived. Doing so can restore faith in our elected government and preserve the future security of this republic. And I want to thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
I'm proud of you. This was very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Okay. Arthur says
the first person who's had the guts to come out with this much in such a succinct way.
Please give this to our congressman.
Yes.
Arthur says,
hey, I'll be happy to be there Wednesday. No problem. I'll be happy to do all the crash retrievals. I'll give you the names, the dates, the locations. We'll go through all the programs. No problem. I'll do it.
So Susan asks, has anything bad ever happened to people exposing this?
Yeah, certainly. James Forstall was the first casualty of the cover-up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to make one point here, and we all need to realize something. Number one witness in that group is Lou Elizondo. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I've heard him say it 1,000 times. I've read his book. He is a national security threat person. He is, I would not call him a whistleblower. I think that he is a misinformation officer, and he's doing exactly what he's told to do. And sorry, Lou, you got to come up with better than you got. If you think this is a national security threat on us, you are deadly wrong.
Well, maybe he's just a patsy in a way and doesn't
Well,
even
that's what I
realize he's being
say.
used.
He's got things. You know, we talk about, you want to know why an NDA gets signed? It's because your family's in danger if you don't. If you're that far in and they're making you sign NDAs, they already got you, and this is their way of making sure that you understand that the day comes, you break it, goodbye to your family. And that puts tremendous pressure on the people who have signed NDAs until it's declassified. They ain't declassifying any of this, just saying. You know, we have to, everybody in our country, Canada, Europe, you know, all of them, Asia, China knows a lot about this too, unfortunately, needs to stand up and say, you know, we're just not buying it anymore. There are more reasons going on than you are.
Clearly, some of these governments are cooperating with each other. So Prince Solomon is asking, I'm not sure if you're going to answer this, where do they build these?
Okay, so some of them, anything of any value is underground. So some of these are deep underground military bases is where they're building these things. And the other one goes back to the 2025 report. They are holographic image projection, and they can be any size they want. You can make them 10 miles if you wanted to.
That's right. And a lot of people do see that. I'm going to say this outright. You know where the Sandia Mountains are, right?
I think so.
Guess what's under there?
Tell us.
Back engineering. And they have groups on top that are like doing it publicly. You can go join them if you have a specialty or whatever. They'll suck you into the program. But yeah, you know, they got people say, oh, there's Pinty. The Pinty are in there. I think I'm saying it right. Nope, that's a cover of front misinformation about aliens that don't exist. The Sandia Mountain complexes are all black ops, all of them. Okay, making a point.
Yep.
Wow.
It's yeah, there's a lot going on, and up north too, in Canada too, and France, and everywhere else. You imagine, just think about it.
Do you think there's a secret space fleet going on, Michael?
Well, if you factor in the triangles, if you factor in the craft that use quantum physics and don't use Newtonian physics, yes, I do believe there is.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're not flying to Mars. There's no 20 and back.
Or other planets.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Holy smokes. So what can we do?
Right, Congressman, right, the President of the United States. We have a new one going in who was before as well. Write him, call the White House, leave a message, say something, go to your local government, take tours of all these bases. You can take tours. They'll let you see them.
Well, the first thing we need to do is educate ourselves, and you're helping us with that, Michael. But
sure. What we need to do is track down the remaining legacy witnesses to the crash retrieval programs and these deep, unacknowledged special access programs that have no congressional. Those are the people that we need to track down. Those are the people that, see, here's the thing. We don't want any onesies or twosies. Like one person going to congressional hearings, that's not going to do anything. If we have a united coalition of 24 people going, now you've got power.
Yeah, even 50.
That's what we need.
Yep, I agree. 100%. I think it's a dog and pony show that's coming up on the 13th, just saying. I wish that we had some people who were competent enough to walk in there along with them. You know, Greer's had the press club thing going on. You've been to that, correct?
I've been to the one last year. Correct.
Okay. All right. So we need more than that, you know, and I want Stephen Greer to step up to the plate here. I mean, if he's going to keep talking like this, he needs to step up to the plate. They need to drag him in. They need to drag other people with other information about our solar system and what's going on with that. They need the full gamut of scientific information to come into these meetings and for people to state what they think is really going on and give their evidence. It's not just limited to crashes and retrievals and back engineering. There's a whole reason why this is occurring, and that's not even being talked about. And I've talked about it a little bit, but we need to delve more.
That's what we need to do, is make sure that this discussion continues and not let it
doesn't stop. Correct.
Yeah.
Keep
get on the phone.
barking up the tree. Keep on shaking the leaves down. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Anyone listening to everything we say every day, your phone, your computer, everything. They hear you every 5G technology. Listens to
Test
you.
that. Talk about something and they'll advertise it on your phone and minutes
Yeah.
later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
start talking on the phone about it to all your friends. Bring it up. Have big meetings about it. Have, grassroots meetings about this.
We're
Start.
actually making progress. So
I
I
know.
think we're seeing unprecedented movement.
Yes.
All right, Michael, we're going to have to wrap it up here. Any last
Okay.
words?
I think we covered it all. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to join all of you. Mhm.
Yeah, and you're going to come back again, correct?
Sure.
Especially after the meeting. So I want to talk about that.
All right,
Okay.
guys. Thank you so much for watching. All you guys who donated so generously in Super Chat. Louise, we love you very much. Namaste. Bob Thorson, you guys, means a lot. Leah, all of you joining in chat. I'm sorry we couldn't get to more of the questions, but honestly, Michael, we really just want to hear
We
you
wanted
talk.
to hear Michael tonight. Yeah.
Your information is off the charts.
Yeah,
Excellent. So thank you so much for joining us,
I know.
Michael, and everyone in chat. All right,
Exactly.
Dolly, I guess it's time. I don't want to. I'd love to go another hour, but yeah,
I
close
know
this.
we cannot. Thank you all for coming to see us this Monday night. Please do return next Monday. It's going to be interesting as well. We came to you live tonight from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM. We are on Facebook, we are on Roku, we are on YouTube, and we are on Rumble. We love y'all. We want you to have a wonderful week. Happy Veterans Day to all our veterans. I need you guys to start standing up for this as well. Join our voice. Join in the conversation. Thank you so much again, Michael. And we do please want you to come back. Bye, everybody.